While the guys make their modifications, Carrie is creating some feet.
Adam already has made a mold for our steel cap boot experiment in the past, and I'm going to use this because it makes a great skeleton foot.
The skeleton is made from a mix of urethane and fiberglass that dries to a realistic bone-like texture.
Oh, that's a good mold Adam made here. This one fits into here. This one.
Then they're encased in a foot-shaped mold of ballistics gelatin.
Nice.
Her feet are definitely suffering from fallen arches, but they'll do just fine.
Okay, just go stick these in the fridge till we use them.
Now, because we're all dog lovers here at MythBusters, to test the turkeys falling on small pets myth, Carrie is making fake pooches. She covers canine replica skeletons in ballistics medium. This is definitely not a breed recommended for families with small children.
This is not a normal family Christmas for me because the dogs in my family are very cute and snuggly. They're neither drippy nor frightening.
To up the realism, professional still life model Gertrude is helping out.
I'm trying to figure out exactly how the hindquarters look on a dog, and Gertrude's modeling for me because she's almost the same dog.
Maybe not quite the same. She adds some bulging eyeballs.
Yeah, this really doesn't have anything to do with the myth, but it's a flesh-eating zombie dog, so it needs some flesh-eating zombie googly eyes.
So wrong.
I started out making a dog. I love it.
Nice doggy. Grant, you might want to sleep with one eye open tonight.
Oh, you're such a good puppy. Mwah.
Carrie, you don't want to get too attached. Over at M5, it's going to be a gas. Jamie and Adam are finally ready to activate their Rube Goldberg machine, a 100-foot-long holiday miracle with 60 moving parts.
Just to make the point, I wouldn't even walk fast near a lot of this stuff, so nobody breathe on this one, all right? I can see you're really getting into the zen of this thing.
I'm thinking about it with everything I see these days.
Well, it's time to do it. We're all done.
It's the moment of truth. Let's go do it.
Okay.
It's the moment of truth, but how's it all going to work?
Pay close attention because here's exactly what's going to happen. At the top of this cone are 10 bottles of cola. At a prescribed moment, Jamie will yank on this string, releasing a Mento into each of those 10 bottles, which will then spray cola down into this funnel, down into this tube, up to this pair of wires, which will make an electrical contact, which will release this motor, sending this bowling ball spinning down. It'll stop, but the bowling ball will keep on spinning, release itself from the screw, fall down, hit all 10 Santa bowling pins, which will yank on the string, send the skiers down. The skiers going down will yank on this magnet, which will release this soda bottle, sending the party favor going going like this, boom, releasing this Mento all the way down into the basket, releasing this Mento all the way down into this basket. This ball will go down here, tunk, tunk, dunk, release the train, woo woo, all the way around into the present. Boom, the present closes, releases Mento into this bottle of soda, sending this robot, pushing the candle under the string. The candle will burn through the string will release the hammer will hit the stove. The stove, which has roast in it, will release its roast onto this seesaw, onto the dinosaur platform, jiggling this thing, releasing the two little doodads here, which will send this seesaw going this way, releasing a ball into this robot, turning him on. This robot will find his way eventually to this hand, which will boom, turn this switch on, sending the Jacob's ladder like Frankenstein's monster. That will set off this fuse. Boom, setting the cannon off. The cannon will release the pirate's hat. The pirate's hat will turn on the monkeys. The monkeys will go down the ramp, releasing the nut from this nutcracker's mouth, which I just did, releasing another Mento into this bottle of soda, sending this thing spinning, pulling a string out, which lets this foot kick the broken crutch here, sending Buster crashing into the ground, and that's what's going to happen.
Okay, so according to you guys, having someone's mouth pressed against the trombone will make it a sealed system. Expanding gases from the explosion will no longer be able to escape through the mouthpiece. They'll have nowhere to go but through that slide. Right, you asked for it. Adam and Jamie are going to take it again from the top.
Look at all those trumpets.
Did you play the trumpet?
No.
Weren't you a bugler in the Civil War?
Once again, the guys go trawling for trombones. Second-hand, of course.
Perfect.
They also need some mouthpieces. And some mutes.
Unfortunately, this is the last note this trombone will ever play.
Trust Adam to turn a trombone into an instrument of torture. Question is, will they still be able to blow their own trumpet when this revisit's done?
Finger in a barrel. I knew we were going to have to revisit this one. That's the one where a gun barrel can explode into a banana peel, just like in the cartoons.
This one's well worth a revisit, if only so we can catch up with our friends, the Mythtoons. They're a gun barrel of laughs. When our familiar foes come face to face, there's plenty of animated animosity. But instead of saying his prayers, our cheeky red-haired rodent forces his finger into the barrel, and the hunter's best-laid plans backfire big time. The MythBusters tried to get the same result in real life. They took modern rifles and plugged ballistics gel fingers into the barrels. The bullets won, hands down.
Look at the very tip
I'll
of the
be
barrel.
darned.
And while they got one or two bulges in their barrels, nothing could trigger that famous cartoon banana peel.
I don't want to count our chickens before they hatch, but I think we may end up revisiting this one.
Well, Adam, those chickens have now hatched, and they're coming home to roost. Since busting the myth, fans have been firing a volley of suggestions.
First, we should try this. It's an older gun with a Damascus barrel.
And what is that?
Well, up until the 20th century, they were making Damascus barrels, and that's where they would take alternate strips of steel and iron, twist it around a rod, and then weld it together. So it wasn't one piece of metal.
Okay, so let's get that straight. A Damascus barrel was made by taking strips of iron and steel and welding them together. According to fans, those weld points weaken the structure, and if the barrel is blocked, they'll give us our cartoon peel back.
Oh, it looks like I need to go dig out the hand molds we used last time.
And I'll work on a remote trigger because if this does indeed work, it could very well explode.
While the guys get to work, let's revisit the science behind this cartoon caper. Pull the trigger of a gun, and there's a small explosion. The expanding gases propel the bullet through and out the barrel. Block the barrel, however, and the gas has nowhere to escape. The pressure builds, and gun ruptures. Some fans might rupture too when they see what the MythBusters are going to do with this collector's item.
Boy, you better marry my daughter.
This 10-gauge shotgun had both barrels fashioned Damascus style.
This one was made in 1877, so it's an antique. And we're gonna destroy it.
Grant mounts the shotgun on Jamie's special rifle rig and wires up a remote trigger.
I have a radio control system that transmits a wireless signal to the receiver. The receiver sends a control signal to the servo. It's going to turn the head of the servo, which pulls a string. The string goes around the trigger and is captured on the other side by a hose clamp, and then that fires the gun. 3, 2, 1. There you go.
Meanwhile, you gotta hand it to Carrie. She's got hand-making down pat.
So here we have a ballistics gel hand with a skeleton cast inside. It's been sitting up overnight, and the nervous part is over because it came out of the mold and looks all right.
Should we start small or should we go for the whole enchilada all at once?
Well, obviously, eventually we're going to need a truck, but I think we can start right now by going out, catching a bird, building a chamber, and seeing if it weighs the same when the bird is sitting in it as opposed to when the bird is flying in it.
Okay, well, I got some pretty sensitive scales downstairs and I can probably dig up a net somewhere.
Let's do it.
All right.
For this myth to take flight, our dynamic duo have to land some pigeons. And in a scene straight from Hitchcock, the birds appear from nowhere. Pigeon whisperer Adam and accomplice Jamie use a variety of snares, nets, and snacks.
The birds will be too fat to fly.
But their pigeon stalking comes to zero, and they realize they need some help. Enter Kate Martin, pigeon wrangler.
Brought you some pigeons.
Awesome.
Come on, you guys. 2 pigeons in an official pigeon carrier.
Look at that.
Finally, Adam's all pigeoned up and ready to begin small-scale testing. A clear plastic chamber will double up as a truck trailer, and when activated, a vibrating floor will encourage the pigeons to take flight. But this is your gig, Adam. Why don't you take us through it?
I've got my bird flying chamber here. It's got a closed top. The bottom is a screen, which I can vibrate by plugging it into this battery. The whole thing is standing on top of a very sensitive scale. First thing I'm going to do is turn on the scale, which will zero it out. Then I'm going to put the birds in. I'm going to see the birds weigh a certain amount. Then I'm going to turn on the platform, which will vibrate. Hopefully they'll fly around, and we'll see if there's any difference.
So, if the myth is true, when the pigeon gets some air, the combined weight of the chamber and bird will come down. Sounds simple.
Fly, fly, that's it, come on, fly. Come on, take off, take off, take off.
Now there's your problem. The bird just ain't flying.
I don't blame him. I mean, because it's not
You can
like...
barely get a full wingspan in there.
Yeah, you know, he's running into the sides.
Maybe we need to build a bigger chamber.
So plan B is a bigger chamber and better motivation to fly than a vibrating floor. What have you got, Jamie?
My current favorite is thinking about setting up a weed whacker-like affair, and we could put like a half a dozen motors so that there's just it's just kind of whizzing around. I mean, I can't imagine this would hurt him. I mean, you could, it doesn't hurt you, right?
No.
For our animal-loving viewers, let's be clear. Adam's pain threshold is way below the pigeon's. So if Adam's okay, the bird will be too.
All right, so if you haven't been paying attention, my first attempt at the small-scale pigeon experiment did not work because the chamber was too small and the pigeon didn't want to fly. I have fixed those problems. I believe I'm going to hang this, use a different pigeon annoying technique, and I'm using a bigger tank so he can actually fly around. I feel like calling this guy Jackson for some reason. Now, I have a nephew whose name is Jackson, and I have another nephew whose middle name is Jackson. He doesn't remind me of either of them.
Okay, Jackson, you're up. Now remember, all you gotta do is what you were born to do. Fly.
Freak me out, but it's not doing anything to him.
Come on, come on, come on, Jackson, come on, come on, come on.
That's pigeon for fly. It's also desperate because if they can't get Jackson to take off and stay airborne, this myth is grounded.
Okay, guys, check this out. I found it on the internet.
Whoa.
Is that photoshopped?
Apparently not. And supposedly, the boat hit the channel marker at 25 miles per hour.
Seriously? That's split up the middle, like what, 15 feet?
17 feet, actually.
Ha! You know what I see in our near future?
Yeah, crashing boats.
Absolutely.
This tall tale of hijinks on the high seas has two halves, literally. We know it happened because it's been well documented, but the myth is in the details. Apparently, in this watery fender bender, the boat bifurcation occurred at 25 miles per hour. Fact? Or has someone got their facts bent out of shape?
So what's the plan?
All right, this is what we do. We rent one of these speedboats, we take some insurance out, and we crash it into a channel marker.
And we tell them we're going 25 miles an hour.
Exactly.
Just like last time, Buster the conductor will have to face the music. He'll be propped up on a simple metal frame. Should he be buffeted by flying brass, he'll topple backwards. Now he just has to dress for the occasion. Hey, Buster, that suit's a nice, cut.
Butt's too big.
Last time they tried this, the trombone was on its own. This time, crucially, they've got a bust of Grant puckering up behind the mouthpiece.
This is ballistics material. It's got the same consistency as human flesh, human muscle tissue. That's behind this mouthpiece. He is snugged there. That is a committed trombonist behind this mouthpiece.
To make sure that the slide can launch smoothly, Jamie takes out his handy tube of lube and goes to work. And we suddenly find out yet another startling fact about his past.
The only time I had any kind of band instrument experience was I got a hold of an old tuba, so I mounted it in the bathroom when I was a teenager, and you could sit on the toilet and everybody in the house knew what was going on.
That's unique.
Hold it. At this point, there are so many one-liners, my brain's about to explode. Stuff about movements, bum notes, crotchets, and wind. Oh, no! Oh, okay, better now. While we try to wipe from our minds the image of the Heinemann Cistern Symphony, let's take stock.
Here is a disgruntled or very ambitious trombone player. He's decided during the 1812 overture to fill his mute with explosives for the finale. He fills them with explosives, they blow up, they send his slide shooting all the way towards the conductor, boom, who falls backwards and into the audience. That's the myth.
With the bomb squad supervising, the mute is packed with black powder and loaded into the trombone bell. Places, please, everybody. We're ready to strike up the band.
Good to go. This is Mad Trombonist. Lips behind the mouthpiece revisit in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can see the slide moved a little bit.
Just a little.
I'm having the most shocking sense of deja vu.
The high speed shows the mute flying from the trombone like shiny shrapnel and bouncing off Buster's cranium. But he remains unmoved. And as for the trombone slide, well, it's still firmly attached to the instrument.
The trombonist's lips don't seem worse for wear, but I don't think they made much of a difference.
In the name of due diligence, and because they love blowing stuff up, the guys reset for a reprise. This time, Jamie doubles the amount of black powder.
That's perfect.
This mute is going to be anything but.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The music's on fire.
Now that's a finale.
In the aftermath of the second bomb trombone, it seems the MythBusters might have settled an old score with the fans.
Again, just like the last one, we can see the shockwave in the bell, and the slide didn't come off.
That's about the only thing that didn't suffer with this one, is the slide,
It didn't even knock the baton from his hand.
which is barely hanging there.
This musical myth is looking more busted than Pete Townshend's guitar. Or is it?
I think there's one last thing we could do to put this to bed once and for all, and that would be to take our second backup trombone and solder or weld the mouthpiece so that no air can escape from it.
Okay.
Not just count on the lips, but make a complete blockage there and see if that works.
If you say so.
Try and have some enthusiasm, Jamie.
Guys, what's the myth?
The myth is that in ye olde times, pirates used rum not only for inspiration, but also as a stain remover.
Well, pirates don't strike me as the most fastidious lot, but I suppose if you had blood all over your shirt and then you had shore leave, you'd want to wash it off first.
I guess especially if you had a date.
Pirates had dates?
Pirates and rum go together like cannons and balls. But is it possible that they don't just drink grog, but use it to get those puffy pirate shirts whiter than white?
Well, obviously we're going to need some authentic pirate shirt material, and, we're going to need to stain it with some period-accurate stains.
Blood, sweat, and tar.
Perfect.
We're also obviously going to need some sort of ye olde rum.
Right, and I think we should have something to compare that to. So I think we should use some ye olde soap as well. I have a secret method that the pirates may have used as a laundry technique, and we should compare all three of those to some modern detergent. So I'll do the staining.
Well, I'll do the cleaning then.
And I guess that leaves me to judge.
Exactly.
So it's time for Adam to get down and dirty.
The plan for this test is to choose three most common stains that pirates would encounter. One would be, of course, blood. Another would be, of course, sweat. Pirates were not known for their bathing. And the third would be something you'd find on the ship, which would be pitch or tar. I'm going to make up some 1 foot square samples of this cloth. We're going to put those various stains on it and try and see whether or not rum will actually take those stains out.
Being a pirate's a bit difficult. What with the not bathing, the hot sun, the blood, the sweat. And this rough fabric is very harsh on my skin.
We don't have any pirate shirts from the period, but we do know that while a fancy gentleman of the age might have had a very fine weave shirt made of linen, pirates would have used coarser stuff called lock ramp. The closest we could find is this bleached embroidery fabric, which has a thread count of 40. It's quite rough, but it's perfect for our tests. And I think it's the closest thing we could possibly find.
The first authentic pirate stain is blood, and Adam knows just where to find some.
We have it in the fridge because Jamie likes to have it every day for lunch. No. Has anyone taken my blood out of the fridge?
Next, Adam takes Jamie's lunch and smears the pig's blood over 4 sample sheets.
This is the plight of the pirate laundryman. Next up for our pirate shirts is pitch. Now, blood and sweat are easy choices when it comes to pirate stains, but we wanted to choose something like grime, and we know that pitch was used on pirate boats and period boats of the time. We've used it on plenty of other episodes, and it's very dirty stuff, so that's what we're gonna put on our pirate shirts next. Ta-da! We have 1 stain to go, and I'm gonna have to work for this one.
Yep, Adam has a plan to sweat for science.
I'm gonna do 3 things. I'm gonna get on Jamie's treadmill in my sweat lodge, formerly his mold room, and I'm gonna put on the sweatiest of the sweaty things we have, which is our fire suit. That thing is damn hot inside. I should have no problem producing lots of the correct bodily fluid for this test.
To harvest the bodily fluids, Adam arranges the shirt material for maximum moisture absorption.
It's go time.
Adam leaps onto the treadmill, ready to stain up. But after 15 seconds on his very own wheel of death, he's gasping like an asthmatic hamster.
That says I've only burned 20 calories. What is that about?
Why don't we fast forward to the end of the workout? After all, who wants to watch a grown man ooze sweat stains?
Now we've got 3 kinds of stains here. We got blood, pitch, and sweat. Or as pirates like to refer to it, Saturday night.
Feeling the need for speed, viewers have sent in 3 mythical ways to beat the camera cop.
Well, the first one is that you could beat the speed camera by driving so fast through it, it doesn't have time to take your picture.
Well, seems pretty straightforward. We get a speed camera, we get a car, and we just drive like heck.
Yeah, we do! Woo!
So, viewer myth number 1. You can beat the speed camera by driving so fast it can't see you? That'd be time to cue the souped-up supercar. But before we go high speed, Adam wants to test the theory in this car.
This is a perfect car for the test because while it may not be the fastest car on the block, it is definitely representative of a totally average American car. If this myth is at all true, it ought to be true for your average car.
Now, if you're worried about Adam and Jamie maxing out a very average car,
this is a pair of 5-point racing harnesses.
You're not alone.
Because we've got to drive it at such high speeds, the insurance company requires we put some safety measures into it, and that's what I'm about to do.
And so is Jamie. But how gas-axing a hole in the rear makes the car safer is anyone's guess.
Once the bumper goes back on it, it'll be fine. Nobody will know until they have a crash, but I won't tell them.
If this car can go half as fast as it's going in Adam's imagination,
Flip on the afterburner.
it should be able to beat the sound barrier, let alone a speed camera.
And I'm out!
You ready?
Yeah, I'm totally ready. Let's go.
Let's go beat the speed camera.
Speed cameras work like sonar. They send out radar pulses. The time it takes for the pulse to come back to the sensor registers the speed of the vehicle. If it's over the limit, a signal sent to the camera to take a photo. The myth is, if you can drive faster than the pulses, it won't detect your vehicle.
We got to beat the speed camera. And the only place where we can shoot this is our favorite tarmac at Alameda Naval Base. It's about 1.75 miles of perfectly flat road. It's absolutely ideal for our purposes.
2 men, almost 2 miles of runway, 1 myth, 1 car, and no speed limit. It's just another day in MythBusters paradise. At least until it's time to meet the speedster's arch enemy, the speed camera, and the mastermind behind it.
Hi, Adam. Good to meet you both.
Adam Teuton's cameras have been the bane of every leadfoot's life since 1987.
So basically what I'm looking at here is a radar unit attached to a camera, a storage device, and a processor.
Correct.
That's amazingly simple.
We try to make it as simple as possible.
Over the years, how many tickets have your systems issued?
I'd have to say millions.
With millions of tickets under its belt, will Jamie at full throttle be fast enough to get in under the radar? And just how fast can an average auto go?
This may look like a ray gun, but in fact it's a radar gun.
Just in case the speed camera doesn't clock the car, Adam's handheld will still get a reading.
I feel like a bullfighter. Come on! 40, 45, 50, 60. 60 miles an hour.
From a standing start, the average auto speed is, well, average. A longer run-up should show what it's got. But does the driver have the right stuff?
As usual, our biggest problem is not doing this particular stunt, but it's dealing with the insurance issues surrounding it. So we're going to have a safety person in the car with me. We're going to have a fire suit on and a helmet and the whole 9 yards, just in case we blow a tire and spin out and crash and burn and stuff like that.
Ah, Jamie, ever the optimist.
Based solely on my intuition and on any practical experience whatsoever, I estimate that we can get this car, or that Jamie can get this car, to just over 100 miles an hour. Is it enough to beat the speed camera? I suspect that it isn't, but I'm curious to find out.
Let's go fast.
Jamie's going to put the pedal to the metal while Adam tries to keep up in the safety car. The mustachioed maestro soon leaves Adam in his dust. But did he dust off the speed camera too?